I'm very happy to be here. And as you can hear, of course, I live in London, but I'm very strongly attached to Lyon because this is where I'm coming from. So I'm going to tell you more about the City of London Corporation. So I work in the City Public Realm team, which is a team that looks at all the spaces between the buildings. So we develop strategies and projects to really enhance the street. It's all focused on users and pedestrians, and we do that to make sure that the city remains the best place for people to work, live, and play. So the City of London Corporation is one of the 33 boroughs of London, and it's located at its heart. So you can see the small red dot on the map over there. So it's often known as a financial and business center with hyper-modern buildings and very old traditions, because we've got tradition back from the medieval time. But it's much more than that. And the city's got layers of histories back from the Roman time, where Londinium, which is the first Roman settlement, was created up to now. And I discovered that also it's where the first street lighting appeared in 1417, when the city asked and then later compelled residents to put light outside their homes after dusk. So the city in the last decade was mostly an 8 to 5 Monday to Friday place where people came to work. They were going to the pub afterward, but then it was a very empty space because it's got a very special demography. You've got only 8,000 residents, but you've got 500,000 people commuting every day in the city. So the life after dark was not a very important, purpose for the city, and the city lacked a lot of, qualities. The streets were being overlit, there were lots of glare, and really we were missing a holistic approach with all decisions related to lighting being based on technical requirements. So in 2018, so a bit more than a year ago, we appointed the lighting designers Peers and Majors to develop a lighting strategy. So for us, it's very important that we have now a vision, a holistic vision for the whole of the city in regards to lighting. And it's about delivering a creative, holistic, and smart approach to lighting, which recognizes the need for light, but also the need for darkness. And it's about balancing both functional needs, but also aesthetic needs. So for us, it's to make sure that, we really embed culture and creativity as part of our lighting approach. So in developing the strategy, we looked at all the qualities of light, the intensity, the color, the scale, darkness. We also worked very hard on providing some key recommendations, which relate to functional and technical subjects, but also to environmental matters and planning, so embedding lighting from the beginning of the planning process, as well as in the culture and the sustainable approach we're developing is very key. But in developing the strategy, we also looked at an approach based on character areas. So the city is made up of a series of character areas, which are all very distinct, and we want to continue this experience after dark. So this is what our lighting approach needs to accentuate and celebrate these unique qualities for each area. And this is to help avoiding homogeneity and having the same type of lighting everywhere in the city. So the strategy has identified 12 character areas, and I'm now going to focus on one that is more specific, which is Culture Mile. So Culture Mile is a new cultural district that the city launched very recently, and it's about creating a new destination, a new cultural destination in London, which places culture at its heart, empowering the city to reinvent itself for the next centuries. So Culture Mile is located at the northwest corner of the city, and it's a partnership with 4 cultural institutions, which are the Barbican, the Museum of London, the Guildhall School of Art and Music, and the London Symphony Orchestra. So it's very important for us to work with all these partners to build a place that celebrates cultures and support the creative industries as well. So it's not only about consuming culture, but it's also about producing and educating people about culture. And we're really focusing on, everyone, businesses, residents, workers, and visitors alike. So in the last 3 years, we developed lots of projects in Culture Mile to start activating this part of the city and to really change the perception of what people have in mind about what the City of London is. And I'm going now to run through a few examples and to show how culture has been part of, at the heart of the design process in terms of lighting, because there will be a multi-lighting project, but also when we're talking about wayfinding, signage, green spaces, public information. In this part of the city, we want culture to be at the heart of everything. And we want to use the connector as the street at the connectors and the glue between all these cultural institutions, so that the street can become the stage of the human life. And for us, this is where the urban poetry can really start appearing. But the city is a very challenging environment, and this is an example of Beech Street. So it's a very busy, traffic-dominated and polluted street that we need to transform because it connects the Museum of London to the Barbican, so two of our key cultural institutions. But how do we do that? So we worked in March 2018 for the Open Fest Festival. We worked with the Barbican and 59 production for a 2 days free lighting and sound installation. So it was a full immersive audiovisual feast which places audience members inside a piece of contemporary classical music which was created by the Symphony Orchestra. And the installation play with the acoustic reflectivity of the tunnel as well as the orchestral reverberations with lighting on both walls and ceilings of the tunnel that became surfaces where projection display fantastic lighting colors, patterns, and it was really about work between the lighting and the music to change the perspective and playing with the visual tone. So thanks to this temporary installation, which was only there for 2 days, but which attracted thousands of people, we really managed to transform a space into a proper place. And it showed us that we can really transform our environment. And we could do that in many other places, for example, if we were stopping cars in the city and give the place back to people. Around the corner is another installation that is happening in Culture Mile, which literally bring poetry in the street. So KHBT, it's an architecture and art practice, won a design competition earlier in the year with their installation that is inspired by the history of London and the 20th century literature. So it's a time when the City of London was starting to thrive, and many writers focus on the subject of an enigmatic London. So this is what KHBT have tried, to express with this installation, which is made of 12 words, which form the last sentence of this extract from the Jacob's Rope from Virginia Woolf, which says, "What are you going to meet if you turn this corner?" So the installation starts at the bottom of the Millennium Bridge, so just on the other side of the Thames from the Tate Modern. And then he guides people towards St. Paul's Cathedral and then further north into Culture Mile. So each word will be lit, and at night they will act as a bench, but as well as a wayfinding tool and like a sculptural attractor. The installation seeks to create a new emotional connection to encourage people to walk and to explore the area instead of just, using public transport or car. It's about telling people that everything is close by, and each bench will be placed in a way that you can see the next one if you look further ahead. So the installation will be installed in the next 2 weekends, so if you come to London, please have a look. It's going to be there for 12 months. Dynamic Shift by Nina Dunn is another example of how urban poetry can be revealed through light. So this project was installed for 2 weeks in a very busy junction of Culture Mile, and it uses a mixture of pre-made designs as well as live-generated graphics that are based on sound sample collected in the area. And together and combined, they created an harmonious visual of an evening in the life of Culture Mile. Another example in the city is Culture in the City. So this is a program of temporary public art that are installed for usually a period of 12 months in the quarter of the very tall towers in the city. So this year, it's the 9th edition, and out of the 24 installations, I'm going to focus on a few of them, and I just wanted to show that lighting and neon lighting is something that we've seen more and more happening through this open call we do for lighting competition. And I would like to put some focus on the Botanic installation by Jennifer Steinhamp, which is inspired by the garden plants from the Stanford Wildflower Seeding Project. So this is on the ceiling of a building, but which is accessible to everyone, is open all day and night. And the flowers are animated and are blown by an unforeseen, causing them to collide with each other and the frame. So it's a very beautiful and very slow animation showing these flowers, twigs, leaves, and petals floating around. It's fantastic. I mean, the picture shows people crossing through, but you've got lots of people that just come by and stop and look. And this is one of the purposes of Sculpture in the City project, is about bringing public art in the middle of our financial and very busy district and making people looking ahead instead of walking from that tube station to their building entrance, looking at their environment, and through public art we can really make them resonate with their environment. Last but not last, I wanted to talk about Illuminated River, which is a project led by the Illuminated River Foundation. It's a very ambitious new public art commission which will transform London at night, lighting up 14 bridges on the River Thames. So it's really the first time that we've done such a big-scale project and a big lighting intervention in London. So the American artist Leo Villareal is known for the Bay Bridge lighting installation in San Francisco that you may know. And he created an artwork for London inspired by Claude Monet paintings that use of impressionist colors, which are now limited to the underside of the bridge. So it's been a very sensitive project in terms of paying attention to the heritage, the wildlife, and the built environment to create something exceptional that celebrates the bridges and encourages people to enjoy the river and the riverside at night. So each bridge is treated individually, but they will all be connected together through the lighting and the colors. But the design was also inspired by kinetic activities of the traffic and trains, and also people that pass by, and the city as a living organism. So you can see here the phase 1 of the project that's been delivered, and the 4 bridges have now been completed, and they are all in the city of London. So this is a Cannon Street Bridge, which you can see at the moment, with the other 3 other bridges. So after showing all these very ambitious and quite, big-scale public art project, I just wanted to finish on a very simple note about an experience I did a couple of weeks ago as part of Culture Mind Night, which was to visit St. Bartholomew the Great, which is London's oldest church, which was only lit up with candles. So this church was built in the 12th century, and it survived the Great Fire of London, the bombs during the World War I, and the Blitz of the World War II. So walking in this church at night with only candles, looking at the stunning architecture, the historical sculpture, but also Damien Hirst contemporary sculpture, as well as the tomb and the monuments, was a very deep experience that recalls all the centuries and all the stories that this building have gone through. So it's about reminding me that light can really transform the perception of a place and bring poetry, and poetry can really be fun at every corner, and we don't necessarily need lots of technical installation, just a candle could do the job. Thank you.